I realised I have never properly introduced myself. All that people see of me is probably online, the coach, the PT, and just like the highlight reel of the social side of things. But as I'm moving on with my business and personally as well, something I've wanted to do is dive a little bit more into the YouTube side of things and providing more longer form content. It's what I enjoy watching, and I can provide a lot more value from a business perspective as well. So it's something that I've been thinking about for a while, and I realized I never actually introduced myself. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. It's going to be a little bit longer. It's going to be a bit of a story of how I got started, and to where I've got to now personally and also professionally as well. I've got my laptop here for some of my notes because I don't want to miss out some key points that have been the huge reason as to why I am doing what I am today and why I'm where I'm at now, and it's made me and shaped me as a person. So this, I guess, is the story of how I went from zero confidence, and I mean zero confidence and zero self-confidence, to building a lean physique, to gaining confidence, to building a mindset that I never thought would even be possible, to building a business, breaking out of my shell, smashing through limiting beliefs, and the exact steps of how I got there. I used to hit the gym 4, 5, 6, sometimes 7 times a week. I used to cut carbs. I used to do non-stop cardio. I used to occasionally say no to nights out. I used to eat foods that I didn't particularly enjoy because I thought I had to. And nothing ever changed. But the clothes that I was wearing, which was my biggest issue really growing up, and the confidence side of things, the clothes I was wearing never really fit me and always used to drown me, and I just never liked what I wore, and I used to put my hood up a lot, and it was just, yeah, that was the peak of me not feeling confident, quite young. But nothing ever changed, even though I thought I was doing all of the right things. The confidence was still non-existent, even though I've been going to the gym for a couple of years now. And I started to ask questions like, what's wrong with me? Why is it not changing? Why am I seeing, especially because I used to train with my friends, why are they all changing? Why, they're growing, they're getting taller, they're filling out a little bit more, but it wasn't happening for me. So it turns out, after a long amount of time, it wasn't a lack of effort. I was probably one of the most dedicated lot out of my mates that went to the gym, and we all started at the same time. But I thought there's something must be wrong with me, but I didn't know what it was. But it turns out it was more a lack of direction. And what changed everything wasn't more discipline. It wasn't more of cutting things out and saying no to things. It was something else entirely, really. And I'll get to that in just a second. But let's roll it back. Let's start right from the beginning and where this all kind of started for me and the story of it all. I never grew up with confidence, as I've always mentioned. I don't really know why. And when I was younger, I don't even think I realized I had low self-confidence. I had an amazing upbringing coming from a small village in Essex, a very small village. It was an amazing upbringing. I had all the opportunity in the world. And it wasn't until I went to secondary school where I started to feel a lot more out of my depth. I came from a primary school where there were 9 of us in my year. There were 2 girls and the rest were just lads. And yeah, that kind of gives an insight into how small it was. And then I went to my secondary school that was massive. And yeah, I just started to go within myself. So that's when I realized, like, oh, okay, maybe there's a bit of shyness in it. Apparently I was always a bit of a shy kid as well. But this just sort of amplified that a hell of a lot further. And then, I was the small kid. I'm still not the tallest now in the world, but I was the small, skinny, ginger kid. And yeah, coming from a small village in the countryside, going into a big school in the town, I just felt very out of place. And t-shirts hung off of me. I loved football. I grew up playing football. I captained the primary school team to their first ever trophy. I'd had some trials at Colchester United, things like that. And I started playing football at secondary school, and I was getting pushed off the ball and like very, very easily brushed aside. I remember in my prom photo that I didn't really want to go to, I looked like the younger brother of everyone else. I wish I could find that photo. I'm sure it is somewhere, but I remember getting my suit fitted, and I was like, well, obviously going to fit. I've had it fitted, and it came and it drowned me. Like, the sleeves were hanging off of my hands. It was just not a vibe, and I felt awful in that. I didn't want to go, and yeah, the suit was probably 3 sizes too big to me. And then eventually, as we moved forward, went into college. I went to a football college, played football 5 days a week, thought it was the best thing ever until I wasn't getting picked for the team. And I remember distinctively having a chat with 3 of the coaches who used to run it, and they're absolute legends. Got so much respect for them, but I was, already lacking self-confidence and started getting it, and it got a lot worse during that time, which is the worst thing ever because football was my life. I had no plan B really. It was just football. I didn't know what I wanted to do in life. And I remember having a chat with the 3 coaches, and they said purely it was because of my size and my strength. They said, on the ball, I'm good enough to play in the top team there, but because of my size and my strength, they can't really fit me in. And that knocked my confidence even further. And that's when it got the worst that it was. And I stopped playing football after college. I never thought that would happen. I kind of fell out of love with it. I got angry. I got frustrated. I was going through a time where I was growing as well. Finally started to grow a lot later than everyone else. A bit of a late bloomer. And my skin was pretty bad. Something that still I find a little bit strange to talk about now. But my skin was bad. I had acne and my confidence was fully in the bin, to the point where I remember a time, and this without going too deep into it, I remember a time where I closed the curtains in my bedroom for 2 years and I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I'm saying it with a smile on my face now, but that's because it probably makes me feel a bit nervous. Luckily, I'm out the other side of that now, but that just to paint a picture of how low I was feeling at that point. And I kind of felt maybe I wasn't enough. I felt stuck. I didn't know what was happening. And actually, I didn't just start going to the gym from there. My parents got me a personal trainer to start with, who weirdly I'm still half in touch with today, which is cool. But that must have been 16, 17 when I first went into the gym. I don't know if I even enjoyed it at the time, but I would go. And then after college, when I stopped playing football for a while, I started to go to the gym a lot more. And it was mainly just with my mates. We just started getting into it, just training chest and arms every single day. And it wasn't because I loved fitness side of things, but I think I started to get more into the gym to improve how I felt in my own skin, essentially. I've not been one that's been overweight. I've come from a very different position of being like small and skinny. I think I started the gym at around 57 kilos. I'm 5'8" now, probably was a bit smaller then. So gives you an idea of, the size and that I was. And yeah, with the clothes side of things, I remember not being able to fit into Topman XS. I was buzzing when they got an XS, but I still couldn't fit into it. My arms just did not feel like they fit in them. And that's something that has always stuck with me, the Topman not fitting in clothes, things like that. So started going to the gym a little bit more regularly, probably 17, 18. And then, yeah, I was probably following a few YouTubers at the time, still follow a couple of them today. Steve Cooks, the Christian Guzmans, all of the big names out there, copying some workouts, not really knowing what I'm doing, a lot of guesswork, winging every session, going in, doing 8 exercises for biceps, 8 exercises for triceps, thinking it was the best thing ever, and then going in the next day and doing 12 exercises for chest, things like that. I enjoyed it at the time. I don't even know what kept bringing me back. I don't think I saw my body change for at least 2 to 3 years. But I kept going. I just kept going. I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder, and I still do have that chip on my shoulder, I think, of being the small one out of my friendship group. And trust me, it doesn't all come down to the aesthetic side of things. I think it more comes down to, like I say, not feeling enough and not being taken seriously and things like that. But part of it is to do with the look side of things as well. Having ginger hair, it's always going to be tough for me out there. So yeah, I kept going to the gym, and I was never tracking anything in the gym. I just kept coming back, got a little bit stronger, had a bit of fun with it. I've always had an attitude, and especially looking up to these people, probably friends as well, maybe people that were older than me, but especially, I guess they were kind of the early influences back then in the day. I've had a thing about, if not them, or well, yeah, if not them, why not me too? Why can't I do that? If they're doing it, why can't I? I've always had that, and I don't know where that's come from either. Even though at the time nothing was really changing, I just think, well, if they're doing that, I'm doing the same as what they're doing on YouTube. So it's only a matter of time before something changes for me. Slowly though, started to fill out a little bit. T-shirts started to feel a little bit better. I remember, like, especially my chest was starting to look a little bit different, but this was after years. My confidence was starting to creep up a little bit more as well, and it felt good. And I don't think I still had actual confidence. I still wouldn't, I wouldn't like speaking to people. I feel a bit uncomfortable in social situations sometimes. But I ended up getting a job at a wedding venue as like a silver service waiter. We go out and do outside catering events, things like that. And I started speaking up more because I had to. I was forced into it. It's probably one of the best things ever. And that industry is brutal. It's tough. I'd never want to do it again. But it started to bring me out of my shell because it forced me to chat to people and chat to strangers. And it was, one of the best things for me. I noticed that I wasn't, walking around with my head down anymore. I was walking with my chest up a little bit. Started to try and walk a little bit taller as well, not just because of the height, but started to walk a little bit taller, and clothes started to feel a little bit better. And it started to feel good. I think that's where the addictive side of it started to kick in, because I'd invested so much time into it. There's no way I'm giving that up now, that sort of thing. I then ended up joining a football team again, a Sunday league team with a mate, just on the off chance. It was a team full of squaddies. I don't know how that sort of happened, but again, brought me out of my shell even more. These guys were strong men that had been through a lot, and there's little 18, 19-year-old me that has had a very nice upbringing. And that was really good for me. And I started to enjoy football again. I started to play well. I noticed I wasn't being, knocked around on the football pitch and bullied off the ball as easy. And I started to shoulder barge people, and they were bouncing off me a bit. And I was like, this feels good. And I started to play well. And I was becoming someone that I hadn't recognized before, but in a really positive way, in a very good way. And I liked it, and it felt good. Then I went back and I started playing Saturday League, a better standard. I ended up joining a team that was pretty much semi-pro, I think, and just starting to get paid. I thought, this feels good. Starting to even look even more better in the gym. Really started to take a bit more of an actual interest in it, not just training chest and arms every day, but taking an interest a little bit more in nutrition. And I played a game for the football team's reserves, and I tore my ACL. I snapped it. I remember it so clearly, the sound of it, everything. It was a stupid tackle that I was never going to win. I was frustrated, and felt it pop like that, really loud. I'd finally built a bit more muscle, a bit of confidence, and then just like that, it was all gone. Like, just like that. I remember sitting on the sofa with my leg up that night, watching like Saturday night TV. And it just got so down. I got so down. And I had surgery. I knew it was going to be a while. I took a full year out of football because I wanted to make sure I was as strong as possible coming back. And that was the attitude I had with it. In all honesty, I treated the rehab side of things like a full-time job. I was so on top of it every day because I was convinced that I could get back quicker than anyone. And to be fair to myself, without blowing my own trumpet, I got back way quicker than the surgeon expected, than anyone expected, than even I expected, I think. I had a lot of setbacks, and it was painful at times, but even my mum helped me with the rehab side of things. It was almost like a military thing that we did. We took photos of the progression of how far I could bend my knee. This is going to sound a bit mad, but I shaved my hair off when we went on holiday once because I love surfing, and I couldn't surf because I was only a couple of months the other side of the surgery side of things, and the waves were pretty good. I was down in the dumps a little bit, and me and my brother were like, should we just shave my hair off? And just thought it'd be funny. And I wanted to have a race with my hair growing back to where it was and my knee getting back to full strength. The hair won, but still, it was kind of a competition that I had with myself. I attacked rehab like my life depended on it, and that is the truth. I remember playing squash at like week 12 or something like that post surgery, and my surgeon was like, that's not right. But if you can do that, then I think you're going to be all right. It was like 3 or 4 months after. So I absolutely smashed it. I pushed myself every single day, and it was really good for me. And that's when it sort of sparked the process about progression, looking into things a bit more, studying things a little bit more. And I found out that it wasn't just like the training side of things in the gym that I was passionate about, but it was starting to understand how the body works in more depth, you know, the biomechanics, things like that, and then how to rebuild and how to progress further. That's something that sparked me then, and that led me to where I went to next after this. So I started watching everything that I could. I tried different forms of diets and fasting, and you name it, I tried it. I took a lot of courses. I did a master's in sports therapy because I enjoyed the rehab side of it. I was like, I can see myself as kind of like a sports physio. I then ended up getting a PT qualification at the same time as that in the summer, did like an intensive course as well. And then by the time I finished, I knew I didn't just want to help people fix injuries. I had a period of time where I was doing a lot of sports massage. I worked in a physio practice as well. It wasn't really scratching the itch. I didn't massively enjoy it, but what I did enjoy doing was training. And to be honest, I didn't want to touch people anymore with the sports massage side of things. But I wanted to then help people build a body that they're proud of. I had the sports injury side of things that I still use to this day with clients, and the knowledge of it has been invaluable. But yeah, coaching, I started to realize was the passion, and I never saw it as a job. It felt, as cliche as it sounds, it felt like a purpose. And it was so powerful, and it ignited a fire in me that I had never had before. Like, never had before. And that's still there right now, which is pretty cool. Then, after getting my master's, I decided to do the physio practice side of things and start to build up like sports injury clients, and realized I didn't really like it. So I had my PT qualification, and I launched my personal training business as a self-employed PT in my local gym 5 minutes away down the road. I ended up getting 3 clients. One of them was a long-time friend who is still my client to this day, my longest standing client, so just over 5 years, which is epic. Just got 3 clients, and three paying clients to just about cover the rent. My rent was £600 a month. The first month and a bit, I was losing money, but I had every faith that I could build it up. I was desperate to, and I feel like I knew the steps that I needed to take in order to get there. The way that I saw it was, I think it was 3 clients would cover my rent in the gym if they saw me 2 to 3 times a week. I just hit that. I just hit 3, and then COVID hit. Everything shut down. I remember it so clearly to this day. But instead of waiting for things to go back to normal, I built something better, and I wanted to occupy my time. I couldn't think of anything worse than doing nothing. I did enjoy some time doing nothing, but my brain was busy. It had been, I think it was 2 years, was it 2 or 3 years doing my master's, because I did it part-time while I was working. Having all these ideas in my head, taking courses at the same time, doing extra things. I remember writing out a year's worth of emails for a business that didn't even exist yet for me. And I was just taking everything in. And I knew that I could make a success of something. I was just convinced of it, again, with the attitude of, like, if they're doing it, why can't I? So I learned how to coach online. I took a free 5-day course. I didn't even know what online coaching was at that time, and that sparked everything for me. I created content every day. I remember it being April, it must have been 2020, that I said to myself, I'm going to post to my Instagram 3 times a week and have a story up every day, and never let it run out. And I've maintained that for 5 years. In actual fact, I did this the other day. I've now done 35 posts a month for the last 5 years. So I just stuck to it. I don't know what it was. I was like, when we come out of COVID, I want people to know in the local area who I am and what I do as a personal trainer. And then I invested off of the back of that free 5-day course into the business mentorship. And then I ended up getting my own coach when we came out of lockdown. And that's where it really started to grow. And this is where Level Up Lean was born. And today I now sit at there's a team of 4 of us that work with me and for me. And we've helped hundreds of people. It's now touching up to 500 people all around the world, drop fat, build muscle, and then actually keep it off long term, build confidence, build mindset, and enjoy their training again, but without meal plans, without giving up their life, and managing busy social calendars, family, business, work, whatever it is. That's what we do now, and it's epic. I'd say most of the guys that I work with used to be in decent shape at some point in their life, but now life's busier, stress has got higher, time is shorter, they have more commitments, more responsibilities. What worked in their 20s doesn't now work for them. It's hugely common. It won't be the same thing that got you in shape then that will do now. But that doesn't mean that they can't get in shape. It doesn't mean that you can't get in shape anymore. And bringing back that confidence is something that can be done, but it has to be done in a different way. You don't need to train 6 times a week. I used to think that you did. I used to train 6, 7 times a week. You don't need to eat plain chicken and rice. You don't need to eat out of Tupperware every day. You don't need to not enjoy the foods that you are eating, or say no to the nights out, the takeaways, the meals, the holidays, anything like that. You don't need to say no to all of those things. You just need a better system, and a system that fits the season of life that you're in right now. And if that's something that you want help with, I've got you. And that's what we do every single week with our clients from all over the world. So if you're done with guessing with your training, with your nutrition, you want more, you want to change, but maybe the motivation isn't quite there right now. You're not sure, how to train differently to how you used to, but you want a proven system that fits your lifestyle, that fits you as a person as well, that is bespoke to you, to your training environment, whether it's in a gym, from home, whether you're on the move with work, if you're traveling, anything like that, this fits around you. DM me on Instagram or on Facebook, TikTok, wherever you find me, probably Instagram the best sort of place. DM me the word lean and I will drop you a message. I've got something just for you as well. So if you're watching this video through the YouTube and you DM me lean, I have a little special something for you. I hope you found that useful. There's going to be plenty more to come from me with the channel. So keep your eyes peeled on that. Loads more value coming your way.